alive, and walking on his new prosthetic legs he's got just 11 days before. As the Saints rush towards him, engulfing him in hugs, handshakes and claps on the back, ruffling his hair, yelling, "Chooka, Chooka, Chooka," the hum turns into a rhythmical clapping, which becomes applause and cheering, which becomes a standing ovation from everyone, including Bombers supporters, of course. The cheering goes on and on. People weep. For everyone knows the story. Here is a bloke back from the dead, come to support his team. Finally extricating himself, Chooka walks to the middle of the ground, alone, on the prosthetic legs he had first tried on just 11 days earlier, to toss the coin. And now Josh joins his teammates for the national anthem, nestles in between Coach Kirk Hamblin and Captain Ed Mortimer before making his way back off the ground to watch with proud parents Andrew and Leanne. Still the ground weeps. Loading. No, there is no fairy tale result. Though the Saints play the game of their lives, they go down by 2 goals. No matter. Like Chooka, they fought the good fight. In the words of Hamblin, in his post-match speech, "Big Chooka, sorry we couldn't get it done for you big fella. We'll keep working and hopefully get 'em next year for you, hopefully." In the meantime, with thanks to Wagga Wagga Daily advertiser Jorno Peter Doherty, who was my man on the ground for this story, the people of the farming communities throughout Wagga Wagga and the Riverina have been enormously generous and supportive, organizing fundraisers for rehab recovery. And Josh's own fight, courage and determination have been quite inspirational. The rest of us can kick in, here, https://www.facebook.com/helpchookaout/you what. You didn't even know that Australia's participation in a once glorious competition of 100 years standing came to an end last weekend. No one even told you that a global comp that used to enthrall the entire nation, because we used to dominate, is finished up last Sunday. Me, neither. This is the way the world ends, that famous old bassliner T.S. Eliot once observed, not with a bang but with a whimper. He was bang on. But can we at least lay some flowers on the grave of the Davis Cup? Back in the day it was probably second only to the Olympics in terms of its importance to Australia as a global sporting competition, and your and my forebears used to huddle close to the crackling radio, following it through the night. Legends of the day, Americans Tony Trabbert and Vic Satius, and Australia's Ken Rosewall and Lou Hode, before their Davis Cup clash at White City in 1954. Photo, Fairfax Media, Hode. Forehand, Gonzalez cross-court backhand, and Hode hits a forehand winner down the line. Australia takes the first set 6-4. Wonderful start by Lou Hode, Lindsay, and then, over the decades, people just stopped caring. The Davis Cup came and went, and in this country there would be a bit of publicity occasionally when one of our brat stars declined to play, or Australia got knocked out in the early rounds, or when some other country won the whole thing, but it's so far slipped in the public consciousness that it was barely a blip on the radar. And now it's gone, at least in the year-long format. Fanatics, will the new format attract the same passion? Photo, app from next year, there will be just one season-ending 18-team tournament, with all matches to be played as best-of-3 sets instead of the current best-of-5. To keep the players interested, and courtesy of the US $3 billion 25-year television agreement that was signed, there will be prize money on offer that will rival Grand Slams, and it is hoped they will turn up in force accordingly. I guess it had to happen. But here's a bouquet anyway to the Davis Cup and all those Australian players who brought the country so much pleasure over the years by competing so well for it. The cup's gone, but as the days grow cold and we grow old, your efforts will be remembered. Illustration, John Shakespeare. Photo, still on tennis, and you will recall Mohamed Lahyani, the Swedish umpire who made headlines around the world in the early rounds of the US Open for giving our own Nick Kyrgios a pep talk. "I want to help you," he pleaded, when the Canberran was down a set and a break in the second against Pierre-Hugh Herbert and looked to have given up. "You are great for tennis. I know this is not you. I've seen your matches, you're great for tennis. Nick, I know this is not you." On the instant, Kyrgios settled and came out blazing to win 19 of the next 25 games to take the match. Now, Liani has been suspended for 2 weeks without pay for his trouble. Might I suggest the obvious, as in a complete career change for Liani? Stop umpiring, my man. Become the coach of Kyrgios instead. Different coaches have tried for years to find the key to his Aladdin's cave of genius and have failed. You unlocked it with a few choice words. Go on the road with him. If you can get him up to even 3/4 of his potential, you will have a world #1 on your hands. And Australia will thank you. Not a done deal. You will have seen lots of stories this week about how we're about to see the last match played at the Sydney Football Stadium, etc. The idea is that knocking down the current stadium and building a new one is a fait accompli. But that, friends, is not the case, much as the NSW government wants it to be and is pushing it. In fact, the process is ongoing and there remain quite a few more legislative hoops they have to jump through. Watch this space. The spirit of rugby, she lives. With parts of country and SW facing the toughest drought in decades, Warringah Juniors are holding a Bush to Beach Rugby Gala Day on October 13th in support of rugby teams from deeply drought-affected country and SW. The initiative involves transporting several U15 16ths and U11 12ths teams from the likes of Narromine, Dubbo, Coonabarabran, Burt, Walgett and Walca into Sydney for a fun and friendly weekend of rugby and friendship. The aim of the game is not just to give country kids a great weekend with fun in the sun, but to help cover rugby registrations and running costs for each visiting country club in 2019. They're looking for local businesses to sponsor the event, and individuals to make donations. Try contacting them on warringah2b@gmail.com. Lewis Hamilton. After winning the Singapore GP, our understanding of the tires has helped us as well. There have been so many areas. All our team have been working tirelessly. Jonathan Thurston to colleague Andrew Webster on Cooper Cronk. When the game is on the line, that's when he earns his money. That's where the Roosters are getting their value. They're at the pointy end of the season and he's getting them around, closing out the game. Abuse to Lucan Tui from a drunken rugby follower after the Wallabies lost to Los Pumas. You're all effing useless. Effing disgraceful. Why don't you play with some heart? You should all be effing ashamed. Moeen Ali's reflection on the Australians, the only team I've played against my whole life I've actually disliked. Not because it's Australia and they are the old enemy, but because of the way they carry on and their disrespected people and players. Disrespectful. England's Moeen Ali has a special dislike of Australia. Photo, Apollyon Sandpaper Gate. I'm someone who generally feels sorry for people when things go wrong, but it's difficult to feel sorry for them. Ali, insisting an Australian player called him Osama. He came up to me and said, I know what you thought I said, but I didn't say that. I've got Muslim friends and some of my best friends are Muslims. I did not argue with him. But I was so clear that is what he said. Why should I invent it out of the blue? Steve Waugh claims no responsibility that his mental disintegration team paved the way for the current team being so disliked. As a player you don't want people to love you, but you don't want people to dislike you. We always have this attitude where they would love to beat the Australian side and all that stuff, but I don't think we wanted to be hated by the opposition. How it got to that point, I'm not sure. Waugh on Ali's comments that other teams have no respect for the Australian team because of their sledging. That's sad, because you are all connected when you wear the baggy green and you are all joined together, and things said about the current era almost reflects on the past. Sutherland captain Chris William on where Steve Smith will bat for the club side this weekend, probably somewhere in the top 3. Winning streak. Chris Waller says Winks makes the impossible seem easy. Photo, AAAP trainer Chris Waller on Winks. To have won 27 races you have to have quite intense work 27 times. You've got to bring a horse to the races 27 times. You've got to go home safely 27 times, that's quite remarkable. It's only her exceptional skill that allows it to happen, because it's impossible what she's doing. It's just heroic stuff. Missile James Magnuson on swimming. I gave myself the best opportunity possible at the Commonwealth Games. I ticked every box and I thought that would result in somewhere around the 47 mid mark for the 100 meters freestyle. And it didn't. That was pretty disappointing because that used to be a weekly swim back in the day. Aussie fast bowler Jason Barendorfine returning from injury. It's just been a matter of when I'm ready to play, I'm ready to play. There's no point in doing all the rehab like we've done and ticking all the boxes, then to rush it at the last minute and to have something go wrong. Vontae Davis, who retired from the NFL at halftime during last week's game. This was an overwhelming decision, but I'm at peace with myself. It's more important for me and my family to walk away healthy than to willfully embrace the warrior mentality and limp away too late, mate. Given you've played 10 years in the NFL, I suspect it is already too late for that, but anyway, good luck to you. Tom Lynch on leaving the Gold Coast Suns, throws in a hint of a catch-22. I have full confidence in Gold Coast, they're going to become a good club. If we were playing finals, I would never leave Gold Coast. Team of the Week: Tim Mitchell, TFF's pick for the Brownlow medal. Then again, who else could it be? Michael Di Venuto, the Tasmanian, coached Surrey to their first English County Championship title in 16 years. Springboks inflicted first loss on the All Blacks by South Africa and New Zealand since 2009. The victory was the Springboks' first over the All Blacks anywhere since 2014, and it was New Zealand's first defeat in the Rugby Championship since 2015. Rarity. South Africa's Willie le Roux celebrates during their upset victory in New Zealand. Photo: www.photosport.is. Eliud Kipchoge, the Kenyan marathon runner, set a new world record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds. Running a marathon under 2 hours is a bigger deal than running a mile in under 4 minutes. Discuss. Gilgedra Panthers rugby league team won third title in a row, beating Gulgong Terriers 31-30 after being down 30-12. Lucan Tui, win, lose or draw. No athlete should have to put up with the nonsense the Wallaby number 8 did following the devastating loss to Argentina. Wallabies, after their loss to Argentina, the first on Australian soil in 3 decades, they fall to 7th in the world. France and Croatia, repeat of the World Cup final, for the final Davis Cup final. Lisa Clark, the founder of the Bush to Beach Rugby Gala 2018, has done fine work. See item, Steve Smith and David Warner, playing grade cricket this weekend for Sutherland and Randwick Petersham respectively. The Tullabeg Eelhoppers under-14s, the team that took on the Lake Cargaligo Tigers in the grand final last weekend, had 4 sets of brothers, 1 set of sisters and a number of cousins.